unemployment rate among veterans is shamefully higher than the population at large. Programs like VRAP, the GI Bill for younger veterans just out of the service, VRAP for veterans 35 and 60 that have been out for a number of years who are unemployed, give them the opportunity to get back in the workforce, learn a new skill, get back in the workforce, and support their family. And we owe that to them. And what County Executive FitzGerald's doing here is a big help to making this federal program work.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Advanced Technology Training Center here at Cuyahoga Community College. I'm your host and MC for this morning. My name is Rick Deschamps, and I'm the Executive Director of Veteran Services here at Cuyahoga Community College, where I'm proud to say after finishing this fall semester, we had our 6th straight semester of over 1,000 veterans enrolled here at the school. We had 1,003 this semester. A lot going on in the news regarding veterans programs, and one very specific program that we're going to talk about today, and that is the Veterans Retraining Assistance Program. And for those of us, of course, I'm a veteran too, we all like to speak how? An acronym. So you're going to hear us use the term VRAP, but I wanted you to know what it is. VRAP is a program that was created with the VA to help older veterans who no longer have GI Bill benefits an opportunity, a one-shot to come back for workforce retraining, 4-credit type training, sometimes a mixture of both, to get them back, provide them a jump start to get them back into the workforce. And some things have been happening. The program is progressing, but it's also, we're coming to an end deadline coming up soon, and that's one of the things that Senator Brown is going to talk to you about today. The VRAP program has moved along at a steady pace, but there have been some little issues about vets being able to get money for books and maybe some upfront to hold tuition money to hold their down payment. And thanks to some very creative work by County Executive Ed FitzGerald and the County Council, Cuyahoga County was able to create a Veteran Services Fund, and the executive will explain how that came about, from which ourselves and my counterparts who are here from Cleveland State University were able to draw essentially like a grant to draw dollars off that fund that we are now able, this coming semester here at Tri-C, we're going to be awarding 146 $500 scholarships to VRAP students to help them with that upfront money, to hold them in their courses, and to have some upfront money so they have books the first day class starts. And County Executive FitzGerald will be addressing that. But to talk about the broader picture about where VRAP has been, where it's going, and a need that's coming up, I think here at the end of March, and what that all means, I am proud to welcome to Tri-C and present U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown. Senator.
Rick, thank you, and it's good to be back at Tri-C to talk about a very important issue to our veterans and to our country, and particularly to this part of our country. Special thanks to Everett Chambers, who will speak in a minute, wherever Everett went. There you are, over there. And thank you for being here. Also, Elizabeth Perez, whom I just met, who is a veteran, I believe, of Iraq and Afghanistan, and Gerald Salom, who also has served in Iraq, you said, for 5 years. So Army and Marines. So you're Marines and you're Army, right? And you're Army. You're Marine too. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I should know that. Sorry. This is our second time we've done something like this. With Everett. Back in 2011, Congress recognized the importance, certainly, of the GI Bill. We passed a post-9/11 GI Bill. Elizabeth has benefited from that, and a number of others. She and Jarrell are at Cleveland State. Everett's at Tri-C. But obviously the post-9/11 GI Bill has been available to them, and is especially important for veterans of that age and that recent service. We also, though, realize the unemployment levels among veterans are far too high, higher than the general population. And that's why we passed in 2011 the Vow to Hire Heroes Act. Among them, as Rick said, was something called the Voluntary Retraining Assistance Program. That is aimed at veterans between the ages of 35 and 60 who are no longer eligible for the GI Bill because they haven't been in the service for a number of years and because of their age. So the the VRAP program, which has been in effect for more than a year, now has, I believe Rick said, 200 plus, close to 300 at Tri-C alone. and multiply that around Ohio. There are about 100,000 VRAP slots in the first year of its existence in the United States. Ohio got a higher number than our percentages would suggest because we were aggressive in Ohio, particularly in community colleges, and making sure that people knew about the VRAP program. And VRAP is typically up to a year of school, not always at a community college, but most likely at a community college, and that they will be certified. They must be unemployed when they apply to VRAP. They must be certified they apply to and ultimately get certification, everything from HVAC to manufacturing, as Nick said, to healthcare, to IT, whatever program they look to get into. So, and obviously then the community, we work with them to make sure that, one, they finish this program, and there are people that obviously don't. We make sure that we work with them on job placement, particularly community colleges do that. So I'm calling today, joining Executive Ed FitzGerald, County Executive Ed FitzGerald, to call on Congress to reauthorize VRAP. It expires in March. It's clearly been a success. It clearly needs adjustments and work. It needs adjustments and work to better disclose to veterans what this one-year program will be all about, what courses they'll take, how to get certified, and how to get into the job market. All of that will be part of the reauthorization of this law. But the second thing it needs is what Ed FitzGerald, and I believe this is the only county in the state that's doing this, at least to our knowledge so far, and we hope to use what Executive FitzGerald is doing in Cuyahoga County as a model for the rest of the state, is they're giving scholarships to those VRAP students, $500 each in the case here, scholarships that will tide them over, if you will, at the beginning of their VRAP enrollment. The government doesn't pay the VRAP stipend until, I believe, the end of the first month, so those first few weeks, the veteran's already kind of behind the curve. So this scholarship here is exactly is the right timing and is sufficient to get a lot of these veterans, to give them the ability to enroll in VRAP. So my thanks to County Executive Ed FitzGerald for his work on this. This will matter in the lives of hundreds of veterans. We hope to take what he's doing in Cuyahoga County and make it happen in other places in this state, because the combination of the VA, the VRAP program, community colleges, schools like urban campuses like Cleveland State, and the involvement of county government can make a huge difference in the lives of a whole lot of veterans. So my pleasure to introduce the County Executive Ed FitzGerald.
Thank you very much, Senator Brown. I'll try to be brief, but I just want to express my gratitude, first of all, to the Senator for being such a outspoken advocate for veterans and their services. There's about 90,000 veterans, it's estimated, just right here in Cuyahoga County. So it's a big part of our population. And everyone has a connection with them, but we have to discover and honor that connection with them. Sometimes it's personal. My dad was a Korean War veteran. My mother was in the Red Cross. They met during the war, and that's why I'm here. So all of us owe a debt one way or the other, but we have a debt that we can't repay, fully repay to the men and women that have served in uniform. This is a small thing. When you look at how much money the government spends overall, this is a relatively small thing that we can do. And the Senator is exactly right in that the VRAP program, it's essential that it be renewed by Congress without delay, but it isn't enough either. You have to build local partnerships that build on the goals of VRAP. That's what we've done, I think, differently and in a very positive way here in Cuyahoga County. So it's certainly true, it's been said many times, and I think it's true that a budget is a reflection of the values of a community. And one of our goals that we set out when this administration took office, we had 12 principles that we established that were going to be kind of guideposts for what county government was going to be all about. And one of them was to honor our veterans, to have almost a local equivalent of the GI Bill, but have it be specific to Cuyahoga County. And we've tried to reflect that in our budget. So as the senator alluded to, all over the state, there's a certain amount of money that's allocated county by county to veteran service commissions. But if that money isn't spent, counties can use that. It can go right back into their general fund, and they can use it to balance their budgets. And they do. And that's the way that it had worked in Cuyahoga County, basically in anyone's living memory in this room. That's what had happened year after year after year. What we decided to do was we said, well, look, we'll balance our budget in other ways. We'll figure out other ways to balance our budget. But that money that was originally allocated to provide services for veterans, that's truly going to be dedicated. We're not going to use that money for other services. We're going to dedicate it to the 90,000 veterans that live here in Cuyahoga County. I'm going to go through this list quickly, but I think, and I'm sorry if it's a little lengthy, but I'm glad that it's lengthy because it shows the depth and breadth of what we're trying to get done here. So it's about $1.2 million a year that previously could have been rolled back into the budget, returned to the general fund, and now it's going to be appropriated in this budget that we just passed a few days ago for veteran services. $73,000 of it, approximately, is going to be used for the scholarships that Senator Brown mentioned right here at Tri-C. There's another $73,000 that's being used at Cleveland State for returning veterans for scholarships. There's $175,000 that we're using for the Office of Homeless Services, which unfortunately we have a higher than average rate of homelessness among returning veterans. About $10,000 is going just to the Soldiers and Sailors Monument, but in a way that you might not expect. That's actually a county-owned and maintained facility. I'm talking about the memorial that's right there on Public Square, but we're actually using that $10,000 to recruit veterans to maintain and basically administer the facility, which we think is entirely appropriate. $100,000 is going to Cleveland Municipal Court for their Veterans Treatment docket. A few years ago, they set up this special docket because there are certain issues and challenges that veterans face when they find themselves in the court system that the average resident would not, and we're supporting that effort, that very worthy effort, with our $100,000. Another $100,000 is going to the county land bank. This is a great program. It's supporting a revolving loan fund to rehab houses for veterans. This is a fantastic program because, and we just had a kind of a groundbreaking or a ribbon cutting out in, I think it was either University Heights or Cleveland Heights. Was it University Heights? University Heights. So the city helps identify, working with the land bank, a house that needs to be rehabbed, and then the program works with the land bank to connect a returning veteran that can get financing to get in the house, help rehab the house. So you're doing two things at once. You're helping to revitalize the neighborhood, but you're also giving a veteran that's served their country an opportunity to put down roots in this community. It's a great program. The couple that's moving in there is just expecting their first child. It was just one of those things that government can do, which is exactly the right thing to do, and it makes economic sense and also keeps our commitment to our veterans. $75,000 is going to the Legal Aid Society of Cleveland, again, to deal with kind of veteran-specific legal issues. $25,000 is going to something called the Economic Community Development Institute. That's for microloans for returning veterans that want to start their own businesses. And about $55,000 is going to Employment Connection. This is more efforts to connect veterans with employment opportunities. As probably everybody in this room knows, the unemployment rate among returning veterans is higher than the national average. That's not acceptable. It's certainly appropriate to tell returning veterans, welcome home, but it's even more important to say not only welcome home, but also you're hired. And we need to try to smooth that transition as much as we possibly can. I'm proud that Senator Brown recognizes that commitment, Tri-C recognizes that commitment. I'm also proud that our county is trying to be a statewide and a national model about what local government can do to work in partnership with the federal government to make sure that it's not just words on Veterans Day or Memorial Day, but it's a day in and day out commitment to the men and women that have protected this country and served this country in uniform. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
And Everett Chambers will say a few words about his involvement here as a Marine and Tri-C student. Everett, thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Everett Chambers III, and I am one of the 1,003 veterans that go to Tri-C currently. I served my country as a U.S. Marine from 1991 to 2000. And when I left the service, I couldn't find work. Then I heard about the VRAP program, okay? As a veteran, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the VRAP program for choosing me as a recipient. This has meant so much to me. It has been very challenging for me as a veteran in such a tough economic time to pursue my educational dreams in achieving a degree in electronic engineering. The VRAP program has made it possible for me to move forward in achieving my goals. By choosing me as a recipient of the VRAP program, my financial burdens have been lightened, which allows me to focus more on what's most important, which is school and education. This program has inspired me to help others to give back to the community. I hope one day to help other students achieve their goals, just as the VRAP has done for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Everett. Appreciate it. Again, on behalf of our college president, Alex Johnson, Dr. Alex Johnson, the folks here in Workforce Development, the ATTC, my colleagues at Cleveland State, I say that, Bob, because we're fellow Coasties. We didn't pay for these haircuts, believe me. And of course, to U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown, County Executive FitzGerald, you're making it happen, I know, for our veterans here. And we are greatly, greatly appreciative and look forward to working with both your staffs moving forward as we take care of our own and honoring the service of those who have served. Thank you for being here today at Cuyahoga Community College.